Hey, if you want to get to know Sweden and the Swedish people better, then you should know what is important to Swedes. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about Swedish culture and what it takes to integrate yourself. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is equality. It is important to Swedes. Of course, when I say that, I don't mean every single Swede wants equality, but it is a cultural thing, and definitely the majority wants equality. And that means equal opportunities, having an equal justice system. Everyone has the same opportunities and access to education, healthcare system, and the welfare system. But we're also talking about gender equality as well as diversity and inclusivity. This might be not surprising for some, but quite outstanding to others. If you watch my latest video, someone who came from China really pointed out that she was quite excited about the equality here in Sweden, that there's such an emphasis on this because in her country it is not. I definitely appreciated that it is integrated in Swedish culture, that there's a strive for equality. The next thing I want to talk about is sustainability. I know I mentioned it many times in my video, but it is part of the Swedish culture. And if you care about it, or you should learn to care about it, then you definitely will find a place here in Sweden. There's a huge environmental responsibility here in Sweden. They prioritize things like recycling, but also conservation. I actually follow a very local Facebook group, and every time someone litters or, the recycling station is left in a little bit of a chaos, this will definitely be posted and kind of called out and, or sent like a reminder that everyone should do their duty to the society, to the environment. So hopefully you care about this as well and want to be part of it. Then you should have no struggle to integrate into society here in Sweden. I also want to talk work-life balance. I think that's definitely part of the Swedish culture. They really strive to have a really good work-life balance here. Of course, not every single person and every company has achieved that yet, but it's definitely on everyone's radar. And people are looking, when they come to Sweden or when they look for a job here in Sweden, to have this work-life balance, especially if you have children. But that also means part of this work-life balance are not only the flexible working hours, also the generous parental leave system. There's also a strong culture of leisure activities and outdoor recreation. Of course, Sweden really has this as part of their culture, but just in general, the Nordic countries have a focus on a good work-life balance. I just wanted to look up a little statistics, and I found actually out, and I was really shocked about it, that the US literally has 0 hours or days of parental leave and 0 days of holidays. That means that any company can just decide how many holidays or parental leave days they give to their employees. They can decide not to give any. And I don't know, I find that really shocking. But you can let me know down in the comments below what you think about it. What is also important to Swedes? Personal freedom. So what does it actually mean? There's a freedom of speech, that you can say whatever you want and you will not be, not judged, because people can still judge you. But you can, if you want, say whatever you want. They just want to have the freedom of opinion and the freedom of expression. And that's actually protected under the country's constitution. And that can lead to sometimes controversial things. If someone goes towards more hatred, it is sometimes a little debate if that's okay or not. But again, there is a big freedom of speech here in Sweden. There's a freedom of religion. I'm sure this is not only specific to Sweden, but it is important, I think, for a country that you can practice any religion you want. Then there are LGBTQ rights. Actually, Sweden, if you didn't know, is one of the first countries to legalize same-sex marriages. And of course, there's always a few people who are against it, but I even have seen like advertising here for an Förskola, a kindergarten here, which has a very strong focus on parents who are the same sex. It's like an exchange, you can meet and make sure you are really accepted. Whilst, you can of course go to a normal kindergarten, everything is fine. But if you're looking for some people, like-minded people, then they even offer that. And that's something I haven't seen in many countries. It is quite important to Sweden. And I feel that's a really plus. Personally, I'm not LGBTQ, but I care about other people and what their beliefs are and what their orientations are. I'm very open-minded, and if I was looking for support in whatever area, I would love to have that, and Sweden cares about it. Then there's also, personal privacy, and I know sometimes Swedish people could come across as maybe a little bit reserved, but there's just a really big emphasis on personal privacy. They don't want to invade anyone's space if you don't know if they want it, so they rather step back and wait until maybe there's an invitation or someone starts talking. It's just very important for them to have their personal space and their personal privacy. One part which just belongs to Swedish society and was just quite a strong kind of topic is the social welfare. I did mention it a few times already in my videos as well, but it is part of Sweden. They're really organized to have like a strong social welfare, and that also means that people have access to education, to healthcare equally, and to unemployment insurance. In the case something happens to an individual, might it be an accident or you just lose your job for whatever reasons, there is a system to actually catch you and to help you get back on your feet. And I think that's actually great. Of course, we know not all systems are perfect and it has things which are not working that well, but overall, the system is there to really have this ideal thought of helping each other, helping the community, helping individuals. Swedish people actually also care a lot about trust. Trust is very important to them, and that's maybe why it takes sometimes a little bit to really build those strong relationships, personal relationships, but also relationships at work. It can come across that maybe, again, Swedes are a little bit close and you just really have to earn their trust. But once, you have a good relationship, Swedish people put a lot of trust in you, put a lot of trust in the system as well. Not every Swede, of course, and not all the time, but there is an overall theme about trust, and that is part of the Swedish culture. And then there is a huge love for nature, and I think that's probably also part of just the country being so beautiful. You really want to make the most out of it. Swedes spend a lot of time outside. They actually do holidays a lot in their own country. They go camping, skiing, hiking, all these things which are available here. I think it really helps if you are an outdoor lover, if you're a nature lover. I think you will probably most likely love Sweden. I think nature has a lot of meanings. It obviously helps you, to just get away and breathe and have a bit of relaxation times. It also, moves your body. You can have a bit of exercise, and then it helps your overall happiness because you look at beautiful landscapes, and that definitely helps as well, and to inspire you in general. Like, nature really has a lot to offer. That's why it's really important for Swedes also to protect nature, to protect what they have by not littering it. There is something called allemansrätten, I think, if I say that right now. I didn't write it down, so hopefully this is correct. But you can go camping anywhere you want, unless it's really, I think, a private, like someone's garden or so, and that's really cool as well. The country has strong environmental protection policies in place as well. That kind of also shows how important it is for Swedes. What is also important to Swedes is education, and I'm slowly diving into this topic more and more now with my children being kindergarten and soon at school. Then I went the other day to visit a university to hear a bit more about what students think about universities here in Sweden, and I'm learning more and more, and I can see that actually education is really important to Sweden, and that's actually really great. I mean, I had a little bit of sense, when I researched before I came here to Sweden, that is a thing, but now I'm diving deeper into it, and so far I like what I'm seeing. Overall, the educational system emphasizes on critical thinking, creativity, and innovation. As I mentioned, I interviewed some university students. There is a student center approach, and that kind of overall means that the student just has the opportunity to think and come up with ideas themselves rather than just listen to an authority, taking in what this authority has to say and then just kind of learn from that. No, it's also more about what can the student contribute and how can they figure out, what is important or how to interpret things. It is important in the educational system that the students have their own personal freedom and also the opportunity to explore for themselves and pursue their own interests. Part of this is also the flexibility and autonomy. So rather than having someone just, to tell you what to do all the time and how to do it and how much time you have to spend, etc., etc., it is more important that the student learns self-discipline, self-management, have them try to figure things out themselves, have them decide how much time they want to spend and see the results, kind of learning by doing. As I mentioned, there's focus on creativity as well. Like, the Swedish system really encourages people to think out of the box, to approach challenges with creativity and innovation, to develop problem-solving skills, all these things, which is quite important. And that's something I definitely slowly learning here in Sweden. And I have to say, I really like that approach. And of course, part of the student life or, at school, but also at university, is just to have this equality, also people with disability to really integrate and have like one big community where everyone is equal. And also sustainability is part of it. It really, I think from kindergarten on, and it continues at school and university, this sustainability kind of mindset is integrated and practiced everywhere. And believe it or not, Swedes also like community. This is also very important, and you maybe feel that a little bit more when you're outside of a city. Obviously, it can be quite overwhelming sometimes living in a city and can be quite anonymous. That's not only in Swedish cities the case, but having a community is quite important, and that could be just a neighborhood community. It could be, any hobbies or any sports where people have a tight community. Of course, now I have kids, like I can feel it more in, that area where when they do anything, any activities, that there's also a community. And I know that normally Swedes are, quite reserved and introverted, but once they are part of a community, they can be quite loud. Or let's say they're very talkative, they can really come out and just be part of it. And one thing I also have to say, which I don't know if you can put it under the community kind of like topic, which is important to Swedes. Swedes are really, really polite, really, really helpful. I think I haven't really mentioned that much here in my videos, but this is something you slowly recognize when you live here, that when you ask for help, everyone is really happy to help. Or even when someone sees you and you need help, I don't know, for example, the direction, or you need help with your pram or things like that, they're extremely, extremely polite and kind, and that's something really great to have. At least I like to live in a society where people are polite and people are very helpful. I think that is a thing which Swedes care about as well. So one thing I also noticed only when I moved here, and that's that Swedes care about health. Of course, again, not everyone is like super healthy, but there is a sense of health is very important. By that I mean, of course, like eating well, but more so to be active. So really having either a hobby or just make sure that you move your body every day or a few times a week, you know, by going running or going to the gym or going for walks. I think going for walks is also quite an important thing, especially if you have a dog, for example. I see a lot of people just going around with, you know, their pets and like trying to get these daily steps in. And there's also something which I think I mentioned it in one of my videos. When you do have employment, you get an allowance for kind of like your well-being. So you can use it on any sports you do or massages you get or anything which, you know, concerns your body and your health and your well-being. So I got the sense that this is quite important to Swedes as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below and I'm always happy to answer or research for you. I will see you in my next video. Until then, have a great day and stay safe. Hej då!